Chapter 1. The Cold Beneath the Stars. The snow came down in thick, silent waves, muffling the world in icy sorrow. In the forgotten quarter of New Geneva, where the city's warmth never reached and the street lamps flickered like dying embers, a lone figure crouched near a rusted-out building wall. Her body trembled violently, not just from the cold, but from desperation. She was not human, at least not entirely. Her skin shimmered faintly under the metallic green suit that clung to her body like a second skin, though now it was torn and worn beyond recognition. Her name was Elira, a refugee from the collapsed Varelian colonies. She had once worn armor with pride, defended her people across star systems, but now all she had left was her child, and the last remnant of her dignity. Wrapped tightly in her arms was a small bundle, a boy, no older than 3 Earth cycles. His name was Kale, and though his body was burning with fever, he didn't cry. He had cried too much already. His alien blood made him even more fragile in Earth's harsh winter. And she had nothing left. No food, no money, no future. Until that morning, she had held on to the last piece of her clothing, a cloak that once bore her house insignia. She traded it to a street vendor for a bag of nutrition paste and a small bottle of water. It wasn't enough, but it was all she could do. As the snow grew thicker, she stumbled down an alley, her legs weak, her mind fading. She collapsed beside a dumpster, wrapping her body around her son to keep him warm. That's when she heard footsteps, heavy boots crunching in the snow. Chapter 2. The Human with Fire in His Eyes. Marcus Trent had been a soldier too once. He didn't wear medals anymore, didn't salute flags or take orders. He lived alone in the border slums of New Geneva, working odd jobs and repairing old machines. The war had ended, but its ghost still whispered in his sleep. He was on his way back from a scrapyard when he spotted the shape in the snow. At first, he thought it was just another body, too common in the freezing backstreets. But then he saw movement. A small, pale hand reaching up. A child. He dropped the sack he was carrying and rushed over. The woman looked up, eyes wide and hollow. Her lips were blue, her face scratched and gaunt. The child clutched to her chest, whimpered softly. "Please," she rasped in broken English. "Don't take him. I'm not here to hurt you," Marcus said softly, pulling off his thick coat. "I'm here to help." She tried to resist as he draped the coat over them, but her body had no strength left. "Let me take you both inside," he said. "You'll die out here." Elira stared at him for a long moment, weighing the risk. But her child coughed, a wet, painful sound. That decided it. She nodded once, and then collapsed completely. Chapter 3. Shelter and Secrets. Marcus lived in a converted warehouse. It wasn't much, just a furnace, some old blankets, and a makeshift kitchen. But it was warm, and for Elira and Kale, it felt like stepping into a dream. She woke in a real bed, her son tucked beside her, covered in layers of warmth. The scent of broth lingered in the air, and a strange quiet surrounded her. Not fear, not suspicion, just peace. Marcus had already started making soup from ration packs. He didn't ask questions at first. He just let her sleep, let Kale eat. When she finally spoke, it was with hesitancy. "You are not afraid of me?" "I've seen worse," Marcus said simply, pouring her a cup of warm water. "Besides, no one with a sick child and nothing to her name is a threat to me." "I traded everything for him," she whispered. "I had to." "I know." He looked down. "I've done the same." Chapter 4. Healing and History. Over the next several days, the snow continued to fall, sealing the outside world away. Marcus kept the furnace running, rationed the food carefully, and even managed to find an old heater for Kale's bed. Elira told him her story slowly. She had been a captain in the Varelian fleet. When her planet was lost in the war, she fled with the last transport of civilians. Her mate had died in the evacuation. She and Kale were the only ones who made it to Earth. But Earth didn't want aliens. Refugee camps were overrun. Her papers were invalid. And Kale was too alien to pass for human. "I thought humans were supposed to be kind," she said bitterly. Marcus smiled without humor. "Humans are complicated." He didn't tell her much about himself. Only that he had fought on Earth's side, lost people he loved, and walked away from it all. But Kale bonded with him fast. The boy began to laugh again, to speak in both tongues. He drew pictures of his mother and Uncle Marcus fighting off bad guys with laser swords. His fever broke by the fourth night, and Elira began to smile again. Chapter 5. The Offer. One evening, Elira stood beside the furnace, her arms crossed, watching Marcus repair a broken drone. She was wearing clothes he had salvaged from his old duffel, baggy on her but warm. "I want to repay you," she said quietly. "You don't have to," he replied without looking up. "But I will. I can work. Fight. Whatever you need." He met her eyes, serious. "You don't owe me anything, Elira. You saved your son. That's all that matters." "No," she insisted. "You didn't just save him. You saved me, too." She stepped closer. The firelight danced across her face, her once proud features softened by pain and strength. "I need to believe there's still good in this galaxy. You made me believe again." Marcus stood, suddenly unsure of what to say. So he just said, "Then stay." She blinked. "What?" "You and Kale. Stay here. This doesn't have to be temporary. I've got room. I've got work. We can figure things out. Together." Tears welled in her eyes. "You mean that?" He nodded. "I do." Chapter 6. The Storm Breaks. 2 weeks passed. Elira helped in the scrapyard, fixed machines better than most humans. Kale recovered fully. Laughter returned to the warehouse. But peace was never free. One night, the door burst open. EarthGov agents in riot suits stormed in. Someone had reported an undocumented alien. Elira threw herself in front of Kale. "Don't touch him." Marcus stepped forward. "She's under my protection." "You harboring an illegal refugee?" the lead officer barked. "She's not illegal," Marcus said firmly. "She's a mother. And she's more human than half the scum out there. You'll be arrested for obstruction." "Then do it," Marcus growled. "But you're going to have to explain why you dragged a sick kid out into the snow and why a decorated war veteran stood in your way." The officers hesitated. Recognition flickered. And they backed off. "We'll be watching," one muttered. Marcus slammed the door shut behind them. Chapter 7. Home. That night, Elira didn't sleep. She stood in the kitchen, staring out the window at the falling snow. Marcus joined her quietly. "They'll come back." "I know. We'll be ready next time. I've got friends. People who still owe me." "I can't let you risk your life for me again," she said. "You're not a risk," he said. "You're family now." She turned to face him. "Family?" He smiled softly. "Yeah, me, you, Kale. Weird little family. But it works." She stepped into his arms, and for the first time in years, let herself feel safe. Chapter 8. And gave even more. Spring came slowly to New Geneva. The snow melted. The streets thawed. And in a corner of the city no one cared about, a small family made something beautiful out of the wreckage of war.